Welcome to The Project. Tonight, new details emerge about the brazen underworld shooting in Sydney. So, was the attack outsourced on Airtasker?
Floods, droughts, crippling costs. The crisis facing our dairy farmers and their call to action for Aussie shoppers.
Then hip-hop superstars, the Hilltop Hoods, are dropping by and they're bringing some brand new music.
Wow, plus one man, one mobility scooter and a skate park filled with stunned locals, but enough about Waleed's weekend.
It was a big one. We are live from the lands of the Cooler Nation for the penultimate time on the Project Disc. Doesn't it hurt to say that? It's Kate Langborg.
I mean, second last.
Penultimate is a big word. I was confused.
Thank you.
Thank you for. I was going to Google that in the ad break, so thank you for clarifying what that meant.
It just saved you.
I know.
What do you think? What do we think of this, by the way?
It's 1960s.
You think? I thought I was going for quite. I thought like American Gangster.
No.
Yes, but your thoughts. You also thought this show was going quite well. It just goes to show perception is not always reality.
We outsourced this today to the control room. Would you like to see their verdict?
Yeah, I'd love to see.
Yes.
Their verdict is this.
Okay. Macaulay, that's Macaulay Culkin,
Look how
right?
well he is doing now.
Yeah, he did. I got a few rough years ahead, I think.
Especially the MJ years are going to be really rough.
Yeah.
It's getting loose, people. Let's find out what's making news tonight. And the defence has launched its closing arguments in the trial of accused triple murderer Aaron Patterson. The 50-year-old's barrister attacked the way the prosecution had analysed the evidence. He also told the jury there was a reasonable possibility death cap mushrooms ended up in the meal accidentally and that Ms Patterson never planned to kill anyone. Earlier today, the prosecution wrapped up its case, dismissing suggestions Ms Patterson's behaviour after the fatal lunch could be explained as innocent panic. Ms Patterson has pleaded not guilty to all charges. In other news, tonight there's panic in Tehran as the US president issues locals with an unprecedented warning to get out immediately. It comes as both Israel and Iran vow further vengeance as the missiles rain down.
This is the moment a missile struck Iran's state media building. Shocked journalists choosing to remain on air despite earlier warnings from Israel to evacuate.
This appalling attack constitutes a blatant war crime and a direct assault on press freedom.
Iran defiant, vowing to avenge both that strike and one on a local hospital, promising to unleash the largest and most intense missile attack in Israel's history. The conflict has seen Donald Trump leave the G7 early, rushing back to the White House to convene the National Security Council in the Situation Room.
Trump has three choices. Join the war, stop the war, or don't decide. But that third option means you are kind of hostage to developments.
The president earlier posting this message on Truth Social.
Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran.
The move sparking terror in Tehran, the streets in chaos as frightened citizens flee. Late this afternoon, Trump posting again, rubbishing claims he's about to broker a ceasefire.
It certainly has nothing to do with a ceasefire. Much bigger than that. Stay tuned.
The president further stoking rumours the US could be about to get directly involved, having already expanded its military presence in the region.
What it looks like right now is we're vigilant. We're prepared, and we've messaged consistently from the beginning that we're in the region to defend our people and our assets.
We're not just fighting our enemy, we're fighting your enemy. For God's sake, they chant, death to Israel, death to America. We're simply on their way.
The region and the world holding its breath for what comes next.
Arash Azizi is an Iranian writer who lives in the US and he's here to give us his take on what's happening back in his homeland. Arash, you have family back home. You must be worried sick. What are you hearing about what's going on the ground in Tehran?
Yes, most of my extended family are in Iran, and I am really worried sick about them. I was able to get, we were as a family able to get my elderly grandma out of Tehran to the north. Some people are going to other cities around the country. Some people insist on remaining in Tehran, especially those who are, nurses or work in kind of professions that they think might be handy, if the crisis in Tehran continues. So it's a really terrible time for Iranians as a whole, and certainly people that I speak to.
Arash, what effect has Donald Trump's post had on people?
It was a terrible, inhuman post. It's really unimaginable for someone to do that. At 3 a.m. Tehran time, he called for evacuation of the city of Tehran, which has about 10 million people. Now you can imagine what does that even mean? It's really terrible. And earlier, Israeli army had published an image and warning the citizens of the area 3 of Tehran to evacuate, equally meaningless. This is about like 400,000 people. How could they just leave? So these are really terrible, war criminal like acts of declaring war on millions of people.
Well, and late today, Trump also sent a cryptic message suggesting that he's planning something much bigger than a ceasefire. What are people taking from that message?
I guess there's a positive and negative connotation. Negative, of course, could be that the U.S. is joining the war. There are some who are saying that it's clear that the U.S. is joining the war and there would be a war in the Persian Gulf and on Iran with the direct U.S. participation. The more positive one would be that it does appear that Trump is trying to, based on credible reporting, it does appear that Trump is trying to organize a meeting between his envoy, Stephen Witkoff, and Abbas Araghchi, Iran's foreign minister, to sort of a 0-hour meeting to try to find a deal that could end this madness, that could bring a ceasefire and an end to this terrible war that has been devastating both of our societies.
Arash, we appreciate your time. Thanks for talking to us.
Of course, thank you. It's great to be with you.
Unions are warning workers that employers are keen to trade entitlements like overtime and penalty rates in exchange for working from home. There's reportedly a proposal for a new work from home clause, which could also see bosses strip out breaks and reduce rostered hours. The unions say it would drag workplace standards back decades.
I wonder when this fight happened, I think earlier in the year, when there was the brouhaha about government workers going back to work.
Yeah.
Albo had said that they were in the position to lose about $5,000 by going back into the office because it's expensive to go to work, right?
To commute
to
park and
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, why not pay the extra people who are going in every day extra money?
Well, I think this is the
kind
opposite.
of the loophole, right?
Yeah, right.
We've never done that, though. Like, someone who lives 40 k's didn't get more money because they spent more petrol coming in than someone who lived 2 k's.
No, that's
we've never
right.
thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I just think that the one that caught...
made us think about it this
way. Well, maybe, but is that right?
No, but also I'm like, you're going to lose break time. I'm like, dude, I'm working from home. Really,
The finger
go for
to
it.
the camera.
Yeah.
You just gave the finger to the nation.
The double finger.
I mentioned the employers who want to remove my working from home entitlements.
Okay, sorry if you got caught in the crossfire out there.
What do you think about this?
What do I think about what? About Kate working from home? No, I think there is a line, and what worries me when they start saying, maybe that exchange penalty rates. What's that got to do with it?
I've heard of radio stations offering days off, working from home instead of pay rises.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess some people can take that, but when you're talking about a whole workforce, and that's why the union would get involved, it gets a bit crude at that point, I think. But anyway, we'll see. We'll all be working from home pretty soon, or just not at all.
Oh, wait, that's about us. I just got it.
Yeah. Well,
subscribe to my OnlyFans.
It already has.
Welcome back, watching The Project. Tributes today for the Tasmanian police officer shot dead while on a routine job yesterday at a property near Ulverston. A family man and a 25-year veteran of the force, Constable Keith Smith, and his partner were trying to serve a court-ordered warrant when he was killed. A 46-year-old man remains under guard in Launceston Hospital. No charges have been laid.
Knowing that he's left behind people who've looked up to him and looked to him to support is just so unimaginable.
In other news, we all know how easy it is to lose track of time scrolling through our socials, and with a growing number of people battling an internet addiction, researchers say teenagers are especially vulnerable. Their excessive exposure has been linked to a range of mental health issues. So, a team of Queensland scientists will use AI.
What?
A bit weird. To help determine when online habits become problematic.
Given what we think this is a significant public health issue, it's sort of an area that might need a rapid research response, some kind of prioritisation.
That was the ironic solutions part of the news broadcast. Brad Pitt has sparked speculation he's suffering a midlife crisis after appearing in a series of bizarre outfits, not my words. The actor, who's previously claimed he has no style and dresses for comfort, has been spotted in a bold blue crushed velvet blazer. On the same weekend, he also wore a fully tie-dyed outfit. There was the silk shirt and a pair of in-your-face cargo pants.
It's because his girlfriend's like in her mid-20s. Is she dressing him? Is that what's happening? Just being like, you'll be cool, old man.
Do you know what? It's very rare.
You didn't even acknowledge what I said.
Why don't you just give him the finger and we're on with it?
Well, I think it's very rare that a guy gets hassled for dressing in a way that's deemed to be not age appropriate. It's really interesting.
Is it about age though, or is it just about the?
Oh yeah, I think so, because Ben trots around all the time.
I think it's just that one looks like he's painting the house.
No, I think that's cool,
that
look. You think that's house
No, I
painting?
don't have a problem with it. I'm just
something
saying...
with green, but he isn't painting.
Okay.
I feel like he's.
Oh yes, because he's a massive stoner.
He's in his stoner.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think that's
I get
a
it now.
secret.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if it was Brad.
Yeah.
But I think that he loves the green.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad comment. Someone called me, I said I looked like a young Liberal voter on the show yesterday. So I relate, Brad. Give him a break. Now, guys, today in New South Wales, Premier Chris Minns, he stopped by a primary school. You can see him there. That's clearly a primary school. And when it came time for the kids to recite today's date, unfortunately, Chris showed it's been a long time since he's been in the classroom.
17 got 6 got 25. Nice. All right.
They then said, let's do the 7 times table, and he ran out of the building straight away.
Yeah.
Was he supposed to be reciting with the kids?
Yeah.
Oh.
I said that because I said that.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then the clip.
He's a bit of a zaddy, isn't he?
He's
Lindsay?
like he's all right.
Yeah.
You know, he's a bit of all right. Is that what
State
you're saying?
daddy, yeah.
Are you going to explain every joke to Kate now, just to make sure she gets it for the rest of the show?
I have to do that in the ad breaks normally, so let's do it on air tonight.
And I like the way you act like it's my fault, not the joke teller's.
It's a joint effort.
Yes, it is.
Let's
Brad
go to a
Pitt.
break.
Where's the director? Roll the break.
No, let's have a break.
Welcome back.
He is the skater dad who's got all of WA talking. Gavin Coyle has become a viral sensation after locals spotted him tearing it up on a mobility scooter at Mandurah Skate Park. The footage of the 52-year-old doing 360s and wheelies has racked up more than 750,000 views on TikTok. The locals now call him the Mandurah legend. Please welcome the Mandurah legend himself, Gavin Coyle.
Hey guys, how you going?
No, mate, we're only half as well as you. That is extraordinary, watching you tear up the skate park like that. Where did you learn the moves?
It's just riding the gopher. You fall off sometimes, and a couple of times I've rolled it, but yeah, most of the time I might still stay on it. So yeah, I just put it down to luck, mate.
What were you doing when you rolled it?
Yeah, I just turned too fast.
Yeah, of course.
When you turn on this, if you turn real fast, to set a straight line, it'll just roll. So you've got to learn to lean to the side and let it sort of drift.
There you go. That's a good tip for young kids at home who are planning on getting into this.
The fast and furious.
All about the drifting, mate. All about the drifting.
Hey, Gavin, how did this particular stunt show come about?
I just went to a mate's house, and when I left his house, I came past the skate park and seen a pile of kids sitting here sombre, like someone had taken their PlayStation or Game Boy off them, and thought, this is a bit sombre, so thought I'd better drop in and rip it up and put a smile on their face.
So hang on, you've got this mobility scooter as part of your life. Like it's a proper thing that you've got. When you first go past the skate park, had you done any of this before, or was this like, I'm just going to go in, fully improvise, this may be it?
I rip up the park all the time, but it's never been filmed before. Yeah, I'll come down here all hours of the night and, yeah, have fun. Yeah, rip it up, go belly a few wheelies and, yeah, and then go and get on the gravel somewhere and rip that up and, yeah, just have fun.
My man, this is how you got to live your life, actually. This is...
Yeah, well, that's what it's about, mate. It's about living life, getting the kids out of the house, off the computers, putting a smile back on people's faces and just having basic fun again, like we used to when we were kids.
Yeah, I remember being a kid on my mobility scooter, mate. Every day I would be out down there at the park. Just TikTok wasn't invented, they couldn't film it. Now, look, I reckon your scooter is maybe slightly altered. Have you pimped it out slightly to help with kind of the stuff you're doing?
No, it's the first question I always get. Is it souped up? No, this is a standard machine. Yeah, so I've just had a new motor fitted to it, new wiring harness and stuff like that. But yeah, she's just standard. This is the only one that the government can't govern down to 10 k's.
Oh, hang on. So how fast can you get?
Oh, for top speed, get 30 k's out of it.
Does she have a name?
She's called Old Betsy. I had a ride-on lawnmower called Scooby-Doo, and that had no blades on it. I would drive that around Mandurah too. Take the ride-on mower up to the bottle shop and grab a carton and then drive it home. And yeah, it was good old days.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, well, good.
People thought I was mowing the lawn, mate. Yeah, people thought I was part of the council.
We saw some of your tricks before. I was very impressed. Very impressed. How far could you take it? Could you drop in on a half pipe? Do you reckon?
If I got in that big bowl, I'd get in, but I wouldn't get out.
Yeah, right. And then you've got to be careful because you'll end up in a mobility scooter.
It's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
Is
Permanently.
Gavin, so great to speak to you. Thanks, mate.
No worries, guys. Have a great day, eh? Stay safe.
I miss talking to people like you.
Oh, my God, that was so good, so good. Guys, let's go to Sydney right now. This is maybe the story of the day. There was a burst water main in the CBD. Look at that. Absolutely. It shut down parts of the CBD, including the Downing Centre Court complex. And there were frustrated lawyers. They were stuck outside. They weren't sure when they'd be allowed back in. And as we all know, and Waleed, I'm very sorry if this offends you, sometimes when you ask a lawyer a simple question, they turn out to be the most annoying person alive.
How disruptive is this today?
Well, I'm not entirely sure because I don't know when the building's going to reopen. So it may disrupt the day entirely. It may only result in a few hours of inconvenience to everyone, but who knows?
Can I say, excellent answer.
Well, yeah. Of course you'd love it.
Because precise, covered all the contingencies.
God, sorry, it's happening again. Oh, my God.
Would you like me to go on?
I simply can't. He also charged the reporter $4,500.
Yeah.
Also, with the project coming to an end, I'm thinking about new TV shows all the time, and I think we've maybe got room on this network for like a new legal drama starring that guy.
Did you have something important?
Yes, well, every case is important. I did. It was the second day of a case. We'll probably have to have it adjourned now and come back on a date several months' time.
Law and Order, Minor Inconvenience Unit. Coming soon to 10.
He's very Malcolm Turnbull.
I thought that as well. Yeah, totally.
Also a lawyer.
Yeah.
That's a thing you pick up. Coming up, can Australian bushfires be fought using AI? One Sydney man raising millions seems to think so. We will chat to him. See you soon.
Let's get some more news now. And Donald Trump has left Anthony Albanese hanging after leaving the G7 summit in Canada early because of the conflict in the Middle East. The PM's meeting with the US president on the summit's sidelines now cancelled. Albanese had been planning to sell Australia as a strong defence and trade partner. He'll now complete set bilateral meetings with other world leaders.
It is to the detriment of Australia that the meeting has not been achieved.
I'm sure that in the not-too-distant future they will meet face-to-face.
The family of Phoebe Bishop have had their worst fears confirmed. The body found in bushland earlier this month is hers. The heartbreaking development ends a month-long search for the missing 17-year-old, but police are still scouring the area for any remaining items of interest. 2 people have been charged with Phoebe's murder. Now tonight, as police continue their hunt for 2 gunmen linked to a brazen underworld shooting at a Western Sydney kebab shop, a new theory has emerged about how the brutal attack was carried out.
This is the terrifying moment 2 attackers opened fire in a Western Sydney kebab shop. New CCTV footage showing a total of 8 shots ringing out in what police believe is the 4th attempt to take out underworld figure Samim Janazari, a senior member of the notorious Alameddine crime gang. Police today revealing Azari survived another attempt on his life just last Friday.
What basically shocking, and we never seen something like that.
This attack leaving Azari and an associate in a serious condition in hospital, and an innocent woman with 2 gunshot wounds.
A woman has been caught up in this event, an innocent victim doing her job. It's one thing for criminals to be shooting each other, but when innocent people get caught up in this, it is absolutely abhorrent and we will not tolerate it.
Police are now investigating whether the hit was ordered through an Airtasker-style app for criminals where jobs are posted online. The same method was used in a similar underworld murder attempt last month.
I'm concerned about this crime. I'm concerned about a spate of shootings in relation to organised crime networks in New South Wales.
The situation appearing to have escalated in the past 3 months, with 10 confirmed gangland shootings, leaving 3 dead.
There is no point in dismissing it. This is a horrifying, violent chapter in the state's history, and it needs to be met with the full force of the law.
Scary stuff. In other news, there couldn't be a prouder dad on the beach than Hollywood A-lister Chris Hemsworth. He's taken to socials to congratulate his 11-year-old Sasha, who just won his first ever board riders competition at Byron Bay.
Yeah.
Chris was out there on the beach as Sasha was carried from the water by a group of his friends. The day topped off with a warm hug from mum, actress Elska Pataki.
Now, an Aussie-founded startup has raised more than $60 million to fight bushfires using artificial intelligence. Created shortly after Australia's Black Summer bushfires, the Pano AI fire detection platform can pick up smoke within minutes from 20 kilometres away. The money from investors will enable Pano AI to expand its capacity on fire front lines. And the Australian Pano AI co-founder, Arvind Satyam, is here to tell us all about it. Now, Arvind, all this time, I'm a bit conflicted. We thought the robots were here to kill us. Mm-hmm. You're telling us they're here to save our lives. Tell us a bit more about how this works.
So we have 2 ultra-high resolution cameras that we deploy, looking down on areas of fire risk. They're continuously capturing imagery of the location, and then AI is applied to detect smoke during the day and heat signatures at nighttime. So as soon as you pinpoint it, the robots, in this case AI, can train itself to essentially figure out, is that smoke or not smoke? And then we have humans that are actually validating that to figure out, is that a smoke or is that a dust cloud? So you're essentially adding human intelligence with artificial intelligence to give you those early moments of where the fire starts. And in many cases, it actually beats a 000 or 911 call coming in.
Wow.
Arvind, so this system has been launched across Australia and the US already. How many fires has it helped detect?
So the system's now in 11 states in the US, and it's in 5 states in Australia. So if I look at last fire season, we've captured thousands and thousands of fire starts. Now, in terms of fire, you could have vegetation starts, you can have structure fires, you can have prescribed burns. So there's over 400 fire starts that we picked up that were bushfires or vegetation burns in the US. And in the Green Triangle region, where we're deployed in both South Australia and Victoria, we picked up 44 fire incidents during this recent bushfire season, which have fundamentally made a difference in terms of being able to contain the size of these incidents.
So it's an amazing use of the technology. So how did the bushfires in 2020, the terrible bushfires we had here in Australia, inspire you to develop the platform?
So when I saw the bushfires in Australia, I was in San Francisco. I remember the front page of the New York Times was this vivid image of a kangaroo on a burnt landscape. It's one of those images that's pretty hard to unsee. At that time in San Francisco, we were already seeing AI applied in self-driving cars, in other domains. So the question that I asked along with my co-founder is, can we be applying technology to this problem? Are we doing enough? And that's where we went and spoke to a number of end users, fire chiefs. We followed the Royal Commission closely. And what we saw from fire agencies in the US, Australia, Canada, they were all pointing to the idea of detecting incidents early, enabling an initial attack to be able to contain incidents faster. And that's what we've seen over the last 5 years. We've seen the incidents in Europe, we saw Maui, we saw the unfortunate incidents in LA. There's no longer this idea of a bushfire season. We're essentially seeing fires that could start through the entire year. And so technology gives us the ability to give us an advantage on that time.
Unbelievable. This is going to save so many lives. We get that. But can we please keep the firefighting calendar? I mean, it's just... it's just...
I agree.
So good.
I think AI is definitely not going to replace calendars on that.
Arvin, congratulations on what you've done with this. Thanks so much for speaking to us.
Thank you so much for the interest. I appreciate it. Take care, guys.
It's for a good cause, all right? Now, you might have caught our story last night about the Riga family, whose NDIS funding for their adult son, Stephen, had run out 3 months early. Well, they had to spend it on extra outside help with his special needs because his primary carer, his mum, Kathy, is battling terminal cancer. Incredibly, their amazing NDIS carers kept working without pay to ensure Stephen was looked after. But great news, and this is the power of this show, because of your generous donations to the Riga's GoFundMe page, they have raised enough money to pay the carers the wages they are owed. So thank you.
That's so good.
So good. Look at you guys.
That's one of the things I'm going to miss so much about this show is that.
Yeah.
Like our viewers
Totally.
do that sort of thing on such a regular basis.
Yeah.
And it's extraordinary, so thank you.
It's amazing. This show, it's like, honestly, to do stuff like that and have a senior citizen on a mobility scooter at a skate park. In the one episode, it's nothing like it. Nothing like it. Now, guys, for almost 3 years, you all know this, I've held a mirror to the media elite. I've done my best to take down the powerful corporate global news organisations. Also, I've done it because I had nothing else to do. But it's time for my last international news. Hurrah, let's go! Very sad, guys. Let's first go to the US because no one loved Trump's military parade more than this reporter.
The Fox News analyst who seemed, well, a little tipsy during coverage of the big army parade.
I am so excited. This is incredible.
Oh.
Finally, the United States is back.
Before she went on air, she admitted toasting the troops, posting an image of an open bottle of sparkling wine, refilling my champagne glass while waiting for my hit.
Alcohol and then a hit. The Kate Langbrook method for hosting TV. Works the charm. Now, a quick PSA, guy. Judges really don't like it when you do this.
A Zoom court hearing goes off the rails after a Detroit mom makes a sandwich in court.
On the docket, PB&J. Yep, that's a jar of peanut butter front and center of a Zoom court hearing last week.
Put whatever you're trying to prepare down.
So when I call,
No, we can't talk at the same time.
well, I apologize for this, but you, excuse me.
Stop.
I mean, things got worse when the judge yelled, "Order!" and the lawyer said, "Cheese and tomato toasty, please." Thank you. Let's check in with New York's latest celebrity lookalike competition.
This weekend, the actor took over the Lower East Side. Kind of. Pedro's packed the streets with a statue of men putting their best face forward. The winning prize went to Pedro number 5, who rocked this sleeveless shirt. It looks exactly like him.
There you go. Good news, casting agents. If you need someone to play an older, balder, flabbier, short-sighted Pedro Pascal, we have found your guy. He's not watching. Now, let's get to Florida, where this fella is giving me tips on how to spend my time post-June 27th.
In Punta Gorda, a black bear broke into a backyard, starting living his best life here. Took a soak in the hot tub, and then he took the cushions off the patio furniture and
nice.
laid down for like a 6-hour nap. 6 hours, man.
Hell yeah, I love it. I'll say the words that I said when I walked into my first ever Mardi Gras party. A bear in a hot tub? Cool. Thanks for the invite, Waleed. That's crazy, just verbatim. Anyway, I don't normally bring you radio clips, guys. Normally we do TV, but this is some radio, the wireless. And it's my last ever jaunt, so I want to do it. Spot the moment, if you can tell when this BBC presenter gets a cramp on air.
If you want to upload a track, go to bbc.co.uk/beat.
It's subtle. I'm not sure if you... Or he got shot. I don't know. It was crazy. I mean, TV might be dying, but radio is alive. Finally, guys, before he bailed from the G7 summit, Trump once again showed what a slick diplomatic operator he truly is.
As you can see right now, it is President Trump walking alongside UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
We just signed a document. This is... Sorry about that.
Oh, Trump, no. Mate, Don, I know you don't want people to see the Epstein documents, but that doesn't mean you can just toss the others around, OK? Ooh, OK. Actually, we did some work there on that. We got our audio team in to boost Keir Starmer's mic, and let me tell you, he was not happy with the whole thing. Oh, yeah! And that was, guys, for the last time. The last time. No, well, that's it, yeah. But actually, no, I want to do one more thing before we go. And I've never done this. This is like an add-on to the jaunts, right? So Trump, you saw him drop the documents there.
Yes.
And it was a bit embarrassing, but, like, it's not like he didn't do anything really embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he confused the UK for the EU.
We just signed it, and it's done. And so we have our trade agreement with the European Union, and it's a fair deal for both. It'll produce a lot of jobs, a lot of income, and we have other...
There you go. That's where I'm at now. That's my next career move. I'm making Curb Your Enthusiasm memes. Follow me on Instagram for more. You can't see that, but it'll all work out, don't you worry.
Throw to the break, Sammy.
There's The Project, and it's a great show, and you should find that out by sticking around.
Coming up, dairy farmers facing...
Welcome back.
Our dairy farmers are in crisis, some battling relentless drought, others struggling to rebuild after devastating floods, all of them facing soaring operating costs and now the crushingly low price of milk. Nearly a decade ago, I begged you to help our dairy farmers. Now their need is more desperate than ever.
A dairy farmer lives for their cows. We're with them one way or another 24/7.
I guess this drought is just a bit of a kick in the guts.
This has been an incredibly stressful time.
When it gets hard financially, it can be quite overwhelming.
We're back to a position that we were very upset about nearly 10 years ago.
It's just another thing that we've got to worry about. How do we get through this?
9 years ago, we brought you this story.
In the past month, Aussie dairy farmers have had their livelihoods destroyed.
And I asked you to do this.
The best way to lend them a hand is to pay an extra few cents for Australian-produced brand name milk.
Across the nation, shoppers heeded the call to arms. Shelves once full of branded milk became bare, while Coles and Woolworths' cheaper own brands sat untouched.
Major supermarket chains are selling out of Ashgrove milk products.
Now, Australia's dairy farmers need your help again.
We've had to purchase around about 2,000 tonne of fodder, and it's cost us over $500,000. The stress adds up.
In New South Wales and Queensland, dairy farmers are trying to recover from severe flooding, while in Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania, farmers are in the grips of drought. For some, the worst on record.
Now it's getting hard to find the fodder. There's none left in South Australia. You're have the stress of how am I going to pay for this, and B, well, where am I going to get this next load of hay from?
Across the nation, 4 out of 5 dairy farmers are struggling to recover from some form of natural disaster.
We lost 35 young calves around the dairy. We just did not expect the water to get to the level that it got to.
Then this month, another blow. The price of milk.
The poor milk price, it's deeply concerning. Dairy farmers will continue leaving the industry.
Supermarkets purchase milk from big dairy processors, companies like Bega, Buller and Fonterra, who in turn purchase the raw milk from the farmers. Each year, these companies release what they're prepared to pay Aussie farmers for their milk. While this year's prices are slightly higher than 2024, they're less than 2023.
Their opening prices are unsustainable and farmers will not be able to break even.
For many farmers, it costs around 80 to 90 cents to make a litre of milk, but they're only paid roughly 70 cents, which means farmers are losing money.
In the current really challenging environmental conditions, the prices don't go anywhere near enough.
The stagnant milk prices, farmers say, also failing to take into account escalating operational costs.
It's definitely daunting. We're about to see electricity go up again.
There is a limit there, and the rising costs are really getting out of control.
Farmers pointing the finger at the supermarkets and their cheap home brand milk.
They're effectively undercutting the dairy cabinet by the home brands. It's sort of a gun to the processor's head. If you want your brand, you have to do our home brand. So we're sort of caught between a rock and a hard place.
When we reported on the dairy farm crisis in 2016, there were around 6,000 dairy farms. Today, just 3,800. That's a drop of nearly 40%.
There's not one farmer that I know of where the droughts and floods are occurring that isn't suffering at the moment. It does take a huge mental toll on your health.
Now, those who remain, they have this message.
You want to support your local dairy farmers, avoid supermarket brands.
Really focus on buying an Australian dairy product.
You actually have to look hard at the labelling to ensure it is a product of Australia.
It is the best stuff in the world.
If there's not a milk price that gives us some hope for the future, then the decision's got to be made whether we continue milking cows or not.
Oh. And I feel like the supermarkets have made it harder because their label is a pretty blue, it's not as... It's not
and
just
also
like
when you
home brand.
read labels often, there's some confusing terminology like product of, or, it's not clear where something comes from. But how do you know what brands to buy?
Well, if you, as a first port of call, just buy a brand. Because the thing that I think has to be broken is this idea that cheaper for you is better for you in the long run. Now, I understand there are people for whom cost is a huge issue, and if you're barely getting by, that's a different thing. But there are a lot of people who, we would probably all have been among those people at various points in our life, where you just get the cheaper one because
it's cheap.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Right? And now you
Milk's
get
milk.
right, and then you get to know why now you might not want to do that because the cost is coming from somewhere. And so if you're in that situation, I would implore you, you've done it before, do it again. Because there are people who desperately need your help right now.
All right, you're going to bring back the Mo, by the way?
He looked good, mate.
You're watching The
Loved it.
Project. Back after this. After decades on the scene, our next guests are trailblazers of Aussie hip-hop. Now, ahead of their first new album in 6 years, Hilltop Hoods are proving they're still top of the game.
A little bit of worry is healthy, a bit of concern is natural. I don't need you to help me. Ain't shit you can tell me, I'm just being practical. I'm not here for a good time or a long time for what it looks like. Don't at me, I'm sorry, don't happy, be worried.
Would you please welcome Matt and Dan, aka Suffa and Pressure, to the Hoods. Nice to see you, fellas.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, your latest single, it's called Don't Happy Be Worried. It's a bit of a departure from the Bobby McFerrin Don't Worry Be Happy, isn't it? What are you guys worried about?
Nothing. Well, everything seems fine.
Pretty much everything you covered before we got on the panel tonight.
You make it fun, though. You make existential, worry fun.
Yeah, go into the abyss dancing.
I mean, that's a nice way to look at the world, right?
When doomsday comes, we're going to be prepared for the party.
And then what happens in the abyss?
Well, look, all right, everybody. I don't want to worry any of you. But for some of you, it's not going to be great.
This is the most depressing interview we've ever had.
But we're all laughing.
It's important.
Well, but there's almost like a disco vibe, though, I feel like, in the beats there, maybe. Is that kind of, part of the album's...
Well, for that song, absolutely. We're trying to have a bit of fun with a lot of things going on in the world at the moment.
Yeah, gotcha.
So are you after that juxtaposition? That's sort of like, that's what you're playing with?
Yeah. But we haven't had a mental breakdown.
Yeah. No, I understand. This is how you stave it off, is the thing. Yeah, I understand. So this is what the album looks like. The new album, it's called Fall From The Light. Great artwork, by the way. I'm worried about all those people who are about to cop a sword falling upon them.
They're the abyss people.
Yeah, they obviously are.
They're going to do a dancing, Wally, don't worry.
They should definitely be worried. 6 years it's taken. Is there a good reason for the delay?
Well, hopefully there's a good reason for the delay. We put a lot of blood, sweat and tears into this one. Had a bit of long service leave too, if that's a thing in the music industry or not.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but a lot of things happened in the last 6 years as well.
Could you please elaborate?
All right, well, let me start.
All right.
No, 2019, we put that record out. And then everything sort of shut down. And then we sort of kept on putting out singles saying, hey, we're putting out an album, and then didn't.
Oh, yeah.
We lied to our listening base for quite a few years.
Smart.
And also just for the process of putting it together, was it like a painstaking... You know how some albums, some songs are like carved out of marble? It just takes a lot of effort and time, and other things just... You know, you wake up that morning and it's there.
There's 12 of the first one on that.
Yeah. What do you think's better as an artist? What?
Sometimes the ones that come together quicker.
Always the ones that come together.
Yeah. But don't worry, these are good as well.
But as an artist, you might know that it had to be chiselled out of marble, but to the listener, it sounds as easy as it could.
Yeah.
That's the goal, huh?
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully it comes across that way. We made 100 songs and liked 12 of them. So
100? Will they ever see the light? The other,
hopefully
88?
not.
Hopefully not,
Yeah. Okay, great. I won't go looking.
Unless we die and our manager needs money.
But it's really interesting also because you've worked together now for like decades, and there's metaphorically and literally a harmony between you. Does it get easier?
Yes and no.
Gets different. It just gets different, I think.
Yeah.
I think, like, your chemistry is different. Now we're both parents. Our chemistry is more family orientated.
Yeah, right.
Whereas if we came and did the project like 15 years ago, you probably would have seen us 3 days later.
Yeah.
You'll see us in the morning.
Yeah. Right. And you'll be fresh.
Yeah.
So you guys met in high school and you're still together as a band, which is an amazing achievement. Do you have any tips for someone who's hoping to maintain a relationship with Kate, Sarah and Waleed for maybe decades into the future? Any tips on how to keep that going?
I mean, it's been 16 years for you guys, right? Like I don't think you need any tips, do you?
Yeah, but no, we're forced to be together at the moment. I'm hoping that, the goodwill will still do it.
The group chat's important.
Yes.
I feel the group chat's important.
Yes, we need
the
a
group chat's important.
Yeah.
Have a project group chat afterwards. Then you can blackmail each other or whatever later on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to remain in each other's circle, basically, once you've said certain things.
Fantastic.
Right, but the secret ingredient is blackmail.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the binding glue.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Sam, you up for some babysitting work, by the way?
Yeah, I can babysit. I could start the WhatsApp group. I could definitely do that.
There we go. Hey, the new album, it's called Fall from the Light. It's available August 1st. Hey, Matt and Dan, appreciate you coming on the show.
That is it from us tonight. Please thank Kate Langbrook. See you 6:30 tomorrow from the program.